Hi guys, how are you today? I had a snafu last night, tried to do a live around midnight last night. Was trying not to do it during the day because it was going to be a long live. And can y'all hear me? Hi, Flip Flop, Cat's Eye. Can you hear me? Hello, can anyone hear me? You can? Cat's Eye, you can hear me? Okay, so last night I tried to do a live. Tiffany Marie was doing one, and I didn't want to do it at the same time because I'm going to be using some of her work, and I didn't want to make her feel some sort of way. And by the time 12 o'clock came, I was really tired, and I could not figure it out for the life of me. I had the file on my phone, and finally, at 3:30 in the morning, I figured out that you can't upload off a file off of your phone in StreamYard. You have to be on a computer. So I ended up condensing 90% of what I was going to do into a small little video, which I uploaded a few minutes ago. And hi was his, and I uploaded that. I'm gonna play that again, so if you guys have seen that already, I'm sorry. I did cut out, like I said, 90% of it and threw that away. Basically, she just repeated herself anyway, over and over and over and over, and, I would have looked silly just putting her down nonstop, for repeating herself, and that doesn't make me feel good, so now, once I start sharing these files, hopefully, you'll be able to see them. A wing and a prayer here because I did it once and I was very nervous and I'm not really certain what I did, but I am on my computer and um, we'll see how it goes. And let me see if I can start. I do want to, it'll be several videos. It'll be from the interview room, and it'll be a portion of the Candace Wells interview at the swimming hole. And it'll be one from Molly GoLightly, which would be Dudley Ajan Speaks Sneak Peek. And then one from Voices Behind the Wall, Real Interview with Donald Wells, Part 1. One from Tiffany Marie, Summer Wells Deep Dive into the Timeline. And then one from Real Andy B, I'm Back. Uh, like I said, I didn't get much sleep, and my grandson has two therapists working with him today, and he's doing some different projects than that he's not normally used to doing. And so he always puts up a fuss whenever there's a change. So if you hear him in the background and he's screaming and hollering, he's not being harmed. He just doesn't want to do whatever they're telling him to do, and he's throwing a fit about it. And I'm just going to carry on if you hear it. So, I'm not going to make any apologies. I love my grandson. My voice is really rough today. I've been unwell for quite some time. And that's one of the reasons why I want to get these videos and stuff out here. And so I can just be done with it. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can. Oh, and I did dox myself somewhat last night, y'all. I ended up showing my face on camera, which is no problem. I have nothing to hide. The only reason why I do an avatar and don't give out my name is to protect my family. And that's it, plain and simple. I have an autistic grandson, you know, and he needs protection. And so, other than that, I'd be out there front and center, no problems. I don't like the way I look, you know, with my health. My looks changed drastically in 2 years, and it's shock when I look in the mirror. And so I don't mind aging, just don't like seeing what my health has become. So let's get on to the live here. Let me see if I can figure out how to share these files for you. You saw my ceiling fan? Oh god, that was probably the top of my silver head. Okay, let me see if I can find out what I'm doing here. Whoopsie, I just did something there. Okay, share. Let's see. Video file. And let me see if I can find the folder. Nope, that's not that one. And so we're going to start with the interview room, Candace Wells interview at the swimming hole, part 1. So Cat's Eye, would you mind being a mod for me today? Do you have time to mod? It might be a while. Hi, Sweet D. I've often thought about coloring mine purple. Okay, let me put you on, Cat's Eye. Oops, I got to cancel out of here first. Okay. Nope, it's not letting me. All right, wait a minute now. Your name? Nope. I just added your comment. Why isn't it letting me click the buttons? Oh gosh, it's only telling me put user in timeout, block user. It's not letting me. Hi, Selena. Oh, well, I'm not going to worry with that. I'll be here all night trying to figure that one out. Okay, so let's go back to video file and find that folder again. And like I said, this first one's going to be, oh, no, I don't want to do that either. I want to go, let me see if I can go. I wonder how you can play my video. Share screen. Mm. Let's try this. Can y'all see that? Oh no, I'm in a full window and can't see you now. Let me pull up my phone. Okay, can y'all see my channel right now? Because I want to play the video that I posted earlier of Jody Sue, Grandus, Candace, Dawn, Dudley, and Andy, part 1. Okay. All righty, so let's begin, guys. I'm gonna start it. If you haven't seen it already, this is part of the one that I made last night, and I ended up dumping 90% of it. One, because she constantly repeated herself, and two, it was redundant, and so I just gave you the gist of it here, but I had to put words on so that I could get through with the copyright issue. And so when you read the words, sometimes you don't catch what she's saying in the background and vice versa. And so you might want to, play it once later on and listen to what she says, and then play it again and listen to what I wrote. And so let's begin.
And so then I sit down, and what happens is I'm closing the phone, and a different scene gets in my eye. from another WJ channel. I'm like, no, that is yourself. Just say no.
You know how she always says that she doesn't watch anyone's videos, right? Well, we know that someone in the camper does bring her attention to all the videos that's out there. You know, you can see the shadow, you can see her reaction, you know exactly what's going on. And after all these months, most of us who have watched her have learned all the little things that goes on. Here she's lying in bed, and what she's responding to is the news interview that Grandus, I hate calling her Grandus, but I will go back and forth from calling her Candace's mother to Candy to Grandus, and I very rarely ever use the word Candy, which is what she goes by, and I don't know why. I just don't like to cause confusion. So, but Ronnie Lawson had done an interview where he had said that the Wells had, he didn't say the Wells, he said they had lawyered up. And so Candace and Candace's mother responded, and Candace's mother did a news interview for the very first and only time. Now, Jody Sue ridiculed her before for not coming out for months, what was she hiding kind of thing. And a lot of people did. And so the woman finally did. And so, excuse me, and of course, Jody Sue had something to say about it. She always has something to say. There's not been one single person who has ever said anything regarding Summer Wells, her family, or anything around her, or any people that she knew, that Jody Sue didn't insert herself and say something concerning it. Hi, Joe. Um, I'm not sure how to say your name, love. I'm just going to call you M, okay? And so anyway, so Jody Sue is responding to Candace's mother's interview, and we'll continue.
I obviously didn't say no. I watched it. And then I rewatched it. And I watched it again. And hold on.
Not just once, but she watched it again.
No, there's no way to do it. Actually, I don't think.
She watched it twice, but still got it wrong.
Let's go. Okay, there's no way to do it.
I feel you, Jody Sue. I'm floundering around too.
So I'm listening to this full Grandus thing, right? Now, I don't know if anybody's noticed this or not.
Oh, there's an echo?
I don't know what's going on with the hateful,
hang on,
forceful thing there, but...
Let me see what I do. Oh gosh, I don't know what to do. Maybe if I close this out. All right, Cat's Eye, let me know if you still hear an echo, okay?
Whatever. That's not a here or there. But I noticed the entrance with the look, a couple times in that interview, she acts like they already knew, like Summer was going, like she...
Do you hear echo, Cat's Eye? Hi, Lady R 2.0, Shandia. If I'm saying your name wrong, I'm sorry. I mangle words like crazy. Okay, thank you, Cat's Eye.
You're getting kidnapped. Right? 'Cause... 'Right? 'Cause... 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 'C why in the hell would you have that thought on top of the hill before they'd ever come off to search for her, right? And they never did on foot below. We all did. But before all the land around the hill and everything searched, but I mean, like, and that's the thing. They never did do that. They never did join any of us. They never did come down there to see for themselves. I think I'd make sure all of that was covered, okay? Before I was certain my daughter or granddaughter, any of that was like gone, right?
Now I want to know, how does she know all this? How does she know when anybody did anything? Because she states that she didn't come down her hill until after 6:09, right? Okay. Her first version was that she was still dressing when she sent the text at 6:09 because, in her words, she was still, ticked off at Andy and, wasn't going to, jump through hoops for him. She was going to take her time, blah, blah, blah. You know how she talks when she's in that kind of mood. And so that's what she basically said. So she said she continued dressing. At 6:09, she posted the message while she was still in the camper, continued dressing, and then walked down the driveway. And as time has progressed, she has changed it to she came out of the camper, got somewhat down the driveway to the point that she knew she would lose Wi-Fi. But Wi-Fi was supposed to be spotty up there anyway, right? And then she hits the send button at 6:09. Okay. She also makes comments about the photo that Candace supposedly posted on her high days on her Facebook page, right, where it shows one of the boys on the 15th at 6:06, I think it was. And Jody Sue explains that away, that it might have posted because when Candace left the hill, she reached a point where Wi-Fi was, and her phone picked it up and sent the photo out to Facebook. Well, the same thing could have happened with Jody Sue in those text messages. And while I'm on that subject, I really don't believe that. I really don't believe all those text messages. You know, the vagueness that Andy has in regards to all of that just makes me feel some sort of way. And I'll get to that shortly. But, I'm not really sure how I feel about anyone. I'm Team Summer, and I've said that from the beginning. And yes, I modded for Andy, and I may still in the future. And I'm that kind of trustworthy person that if I'm doing a job for you, I'm going to do it respectfully and well, you know, um, and I'm not going to let my feelings interfere. And when my feelings start to interfere is when I will ask to have my wrench removed, which I've done in the past. And on other channels, not saying anything about the other channels that I asked. I just, one, it's hard for me to pay attention to what the host is saying and pay attention to chat. I end up having to watch chat, read chat. So if it's a 5-hour live, at the end, I have to watch that live again because I didn't catch what was being said. I was too busy with chat. Okay. And that's why I don't like being a mod, but I will be a mod for somebody if they don't have a mod. And but I prefer not to if I'm really, really invested in what is being said. And when Andy first came on, he didn't have many people, that that they felt they could trust. And so I was very, very thankful that they put their trust into me. And because you can do a lot of damage. And the only things that I ever deleted off his channel was comments about his daughter. And that was what I would do for anyone. He had said in all of his lives, anything goes. Ask me any questions. So when the chat was saying, Sage, help him, no, I wasn't going to, because he had said, anything goes. And the questions that he was answering on his phone calls were what was coming in chat. So, I left that alone and just watched out for his minor child. Getting off subject here, but anyway, so she's coming down the hill at 6:09, right? And she's stating here that she knows exactly when those boys came off the hill, where they were at, how long they searched. Did they search before she came down the hill? I don't know how she knows when Candace or the boys or even Grandus, for that matter, searched. Nobody knows that except for maybe law enforcement and Candace and Grandus and the boys. But if Jody Sue was in her cabin up to 6:09, she doesn't know what went on out there prior, unless she wasn't in her cabin at all. Hi, Rosemary and Time. All right, let's finish this video so I can get on to the others.
You don't know that yet.
And you didn't know that yet.
But she's actually going to talk like they already know, like she's been kidnapped or taken or something. And
now again, depending on how long, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking up for anyone. I'm just looking at all sides. Depending on when, Candace might not have wanted anyone to know how long Summer was missing. Now, when I look at something, I try to put myself in that individual's shoes, each person's, right? So we don't know, excuse me, how long Candace was aware that Summer was missing. If Candace is innocent, we don't know. We don't know. She might not have told out of fear, she might have been under the influence and afraid, hoping to sober up some before she made the call, hoping that she was wrong and they would find Summer and didn't want to involve 911. Jody Sue even says that she and others were so surprised that Candace called 911 to begin with. So, yeah, Candace could have known and could have been looking for Summer for quite some time. And so here we go.
mind you, at the top, they still wouldn't have talked to me yet, right? Candace at that point had not spoken to me yet to know about the scream, right? So what in the hell would have, you know what I mean? But Grandus says several times, she insinuates that.
She didn't insinuate
And she
nothing.
keeps inserting herself in places I know damn good well she was not. Like she says, oh, now notice when Candace says this, she never says we sent the boys over the hill. But now here's Grandus in this interview saying we sent the boys over the hill. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Now, there was a lot of comments made early on about Don, because he would say something like that, like when he was talking about driving into Ben Hill that day, June 15th, 2021, I believe he said, and don't quote me on the wording, okay, but I believe he had something to say about when we drove in, okay. I took that to mean that that was him and Andy, right? Because originally Jody Sue said that Dawn was first to come in on Ben Hill. Later, she changed it to Andy was first to come in on Ben Hill, and that they were, one right after the other. And so she made it sound like, boom, boom. Okay. So I just figured that, they were following one another in. I had some suspicions, and I still do, and I have all kinds of theories, and I teeter-totter back and forth from all of them. But people do that. They'll often say we when they're speaking about their family. Like, I could say, we work with my grandson a lot, where I'm sitting in this room right now. but we do. You see what I'm saying? Or like when Don is repeating to, in some of his interviews, and he'd go, well, we did this, or we heard that, or we checked here, but he was at work. He's speaking about his family. Jody Sue uses the words I and others all the time. She also uses the word we. We heard, we saw, we did, we know. And you have to assume that we is just her and her kids, okay? Because if not, we is who? All right. But she does it all the time. But Jody Sue's great for projecting. She's great for calling, out somebody else for the same behavior that she does all the time. It's so narcissistic, it's unreal, it's malignant. Okay. You look, if you've ever dealt with a malignant narcissist, you'll know what I'm talking about. They can look you straight in the face, know that they're lying, know what they're saying is, and you have to sit there with a poker face looking back at them because there's no sense in calling them out. Look how many months she's been called out on all of her inconsistencies, and she still does it. She won't ever change. It's just not going to happen. It's not in her nature, or as Candace would say, in her metabolism. All right, so let's go on.
Not once was her voice heard at a by I or others.
I or others.
She says we were screaming and yelling and no ma'am. And I and others found it so odd that her voice was missing that we asked one another, is she even up there still? Is she left back out of town? Because no ma'am.
Now you know how she just did that, where she's telling you about conversations she has with all these people. She's done that for 15 months. She's never once said who those people are that she's communicating with. She doesn't provide any receipts concerning any of these statements she makes. Nothing. She destroys everything that anyone else says and does, though. And there's a reason for that. There has to be. There is no reason why this woman has done what she's done to the extent without a reason. And it has to be more than a lonely woman who's been boxed in a box for 26 years. She's definitely not terrorized by anything. We've watched her sit with her windows open, her back to a window, okay, with a light on, which would give her a shadow form, her front, her door open. You can hear the outside. Her cat has escaped in the middle of the night. She sits in her car with the interior light on, and we've all seen where she lives. Okay. She's right there, both directions. Very easy target if somebody wanted to harm her, God forbid. Would you sit and turn your light on in your car and do a live? She's done many lives in the dark where there is no Jody Sue to see. But she sat there with that light on while she's telling everybody about how she's terrorized and this, that, and the other. No, absolutely not. Nothing she does is normal. It's all deviant.
Ma'am? No, ma'am. What the hell is happening today right now? And then she says this one point. She says Candy was...
Hi, Sky Purple.
She didn't say panic. She says she's... whatever. Like the word for like, if you're insanely, like, panicked. But no, I wouldn't call it.
Now, remember in the beginning when she was pro Candace and pro Don, and she was doing this Facebook videos, and she was like, there's no way that she could have, I saw her face, and there's no way she could have faked all of that. Then later on, after the Mary prank call, she kind of pulled back a little bit and was like, oh, well, after hearing that, I don't know. Okay, well, we've seen Jody Sue fake. Okay, so it's not like there's a difference. When somebody is extremely out there, there is no way you can make all the sound effects you want, but there's a difference between a true panic slash shock and one faking. You can do it really good faking, but there's a difference. There is a difference. And you just absolutely have to be in one of those circumstances to know the difference. A lot of us have faked things in our lives. We're women. We fake sometimes and we do it well. But, she's sitting there at one time saying that that Candace was, unable to fake those emotions, and she goes on now, trying to make it like Candace wasn't that upset when she came down the hill. She was upset, but not that upset. Originally, she said the sounds of them calling, and she always said them. She never said who. She never said it was Candace and the boys or Candace and Grandus. It was them. I heard them calling for summer. Okay. In the beginning, it was panic calling. It started off a little bit here, a little bit there, and then it raised in intensity. And she knew as she threw her purse down, right? And immediately started searching before Candace even knew. Okay. That always bothered me too, that statement that she made. And she didn't make it just once. She made it several times. First time she caught herself and then mumble, mumble, mumble afterwards because she was like, oh my God, can't believe I just did that. Well, when you're on a live and you screw up like that, there's no taking it back, especially if people are recording you. You can delete that live and it's still gotten by somebody. Listen to my language. So anyway, she's going to sit here in this video here and try to pick apart the word that Grandus used to describe her own daughter that day.
Right.
Excuse my stomach, it's growling.
First day
Hi, Jay.
Candace come off hill, she was panicked. Yes.
Hi, rumor has it.
That it seemed to me like she was just like what most of us would be, and whatever word that Grandis uses to describe it, frantic. Or whatever. No. Not that type. But notice that Grandis also says Candace called the cops, and then she called Dawn.
All right, I'm going to interject here. When you're repeating a story, sometimes if you're really worried about being looked at a certain way, you will say something verbatim and you will almost say it the exact same way, by rote each and every time. When law enforcement or psychologists, lawyers, people that work, doctors, people that work with people, hear somebody do that, they immediately think that person is guilty because normally a person will talk and it'll kind of be a little bit here and a little bit there, and then they'll come back around. You know what I'm saying? Jody Sue has tried to stick to the script very well, and all of these people have a script, and the script is pretty clear with times and stuff. It's just that some of them didn't stick to the script. But here she's going to say that Candace's mother said that Candace called 911 and then called Dawn. Well, we know what Candace said in the interview room, and I'll play that in a few minutes to show. But I want you to hear what Jody Sue is putting out. This is the misinformation that she sticks out there, and she's got over 5,000 viewers. Okay. On the average, each one of her videos gets $2,000 worth of hits. Now, whether the people watch all the way through, who knows? Only she and her pocketbook knows, because she's monetized and so on. But the point is, these are the little tiny things that she puts out there that screws with everything. Okay, now let's listen.
Well, I was in the roadway after 6 in. Right? I come down the driveway. I get to the bottom. I talk to Candace. Somewhere right after 6:09. And she's coming down the hill on the phone with Dawn. And then the first call recorded to police is 6:21, 6:23, something like that. Now, like I said,
now I'm gonna make it clear. I knew that she had said that she came down the hill with Dawn on the phone. Okay. I didn't mean to put the question mark there. I meant to put a period. I just want to let y'all know.
More obvious or whatever. I think there's a point there where
Hi, Coinky Dink.
I was told by somebody, and I'm going to leave nameless and everything else, that they're supposedly.
And there's another example. This vague statement of some information that she was given by somebody. Okay.
The other calls made at the top.
She's saying that other calls were made at the top of 110 Hill to law enforcement. Now, I'm going to interject again. This is one reason why I don't do lives, guys, because I'll just keep going, okay? In the beginning, I got beat up for saying that Jody Sue had said that she had called 911 to report Summer missing. So everybody grabbed a hold of the first Facebook video where Jody Sue comes out and she's like, hi, I'm 125, and we're the ones who, heard the scream and called the police or 911. I can't remember exact wording. But she had also, right before that, mentioned Dudley, because her videos prior to that was complaining about, not Dudley, I'm sorry, Dobbs. Her videos prior to that were all complaints about real estate agents, land sales, and then Dobbs. And she had had a run-in with Dobbs the day before, which was June 14th, 2021, right? And she led us on to believe that she had time alone with Dobbs. And then later on, she changed that story to her and Andy were cuddling in the cabin. I don't know if she changed that so that she could mess with Becca, by saying that they were cuddling. But she changed the story. First, it was she was alone with Dobbs, and he was so, disrespectful to her, talking down to her, doing the male thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then she changes that whole thing to further add that she wasn't the one who called the police on Dobbs, that it was Andy and Andy's mother. And then she even went even further to say that she moved the property lines at the request of the Bernards. And she was really mad about being used to do that. Okay, and she didn't tell the law enforcement when they were there that she moved those property lines and that Dobbs was really on his own land at the time, And so I'm losing my train of thought, and this is why I don't like to do that. But in a very early time, she was saying that she was the one that did the 911 call, not one of the ones that called 911. And if you remember later on in time, there's a conversation between Benny, PG, and Candace, and they were discussing whether or not Jody Sue had her purse or a phone in her hand. Okay? Y'all remember that? Because I remember it. And I also remember the videos that Jody Sue took down. She said that she was the one who called 911. She had left one up there, and that's the one that everybody looked at and went, oh no, she's talking about calling the law on Dobbs. No, she wasn't. Because in that one, and it's going to be a vice versa thing here, in that one, she was saying, call the police. And the one that she said later on, she said that she called 911 to report Summer missing while she was searching for Summer. Okay, now she's sitting here, and there's one more video out there that I'm aware of where she states that she called 911 to report Summer missing. Okay, notice how she has since wanted to make sure that she lets you all know that that purse was dropped at the bottom of her heel and she didn't have anything in her hands. Okay, so either she was lying and never did make those calls, or she made those calls, right? Don't know. But here she's insinuating that somebody told her that more calls were made at the top of the hill to law enforcement. So now, who were those somebodies? I know there was a rumor going around that, it could have been the Wells boys, could have been Grandus, could have been nothing, could have been Jody Sue. Let's continue.
Ellie, but Don himself
Hi,
says
Kiko.
on a clip that's played quite frequently that he thought the call went in at 5:30, but he must have been wrong because the time they're giving is 6:21, 6:23, whatever. He's like, I thought it was 5:30, but I guess it was 6, whatever.
Now notice every time she says those police calls, those 911 calls, she uses the word whatever immediately afterwards. Excuse me. My stomach is, and I got the burps. I'm nervous.
Grandus seems to be under the same assumption. Somehow she says the call still unfortunately made before dawn. And before leaving the top of the hill. They somehow have an idea that Summer's been taken. Right? Well, if Candace has already spoken.
One of these days, my eyeballs, I literally have the start or is progressing a lazy eye that's going off to the side. And I swear it's because of this woman, because I roll my eyes almost nonstop when I listen to her and I can't help it. It's just like, oh my God, when she just repeats herself over and over, like Chinese torture. And I'm sorry for using that term. I didn't mean anything by it, anybody. I'm learning and I'm trying. But she makes me roll my eyes and it's insane. I'm like trying to stop myself, but the next thing I know, I'm doing it right now.
Open dawn.
I lean on me. My stomach's growling up a storm, you guys. I apologize.
They think for some reason that Summer's been taken. And she's already spoken to Dawn and law enforcement at the top of the hill. Then why at the bottom of the hill when she finally meets me after 6:09?
Sassmere, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I hope I'm not, but I wanted to say hi to you earlier and was afraid. Um, might just call you Sass from now on if you don't mind.
Is Dawn shocked to hear that I've heard a scream and goes in a deadpan voice. So you're telling me somebody's taken my baby girl?
And that changed too. That used to be, are you telling me someone took my daughter, my baby daughter, or my daughter to my baby girl?
Right? Why is that? And then if that's the case, then why are the calls in the police at 6:21
Thank
and
you, Rosemary and
6:23,
Time.
whether there's others made or not, at the top of that hill? Why does law enforcement at 6:21, 6:23, when the first call say actually released, mistakenly think that the mom went for a walk?
Mistakenly think.
But you can see mix up a signal, right? But if you already
Now, how does Jody Sue know that it was mistakenly thought? How does she know that? If she was inside her camper, I'm sorry, her cabin, her shed, whatever you want to call it, her box, how would she know what Candace did? How would she know if Candace went for a walk? She may have had a conversation with Candace and Candace denied it, but how would Jody Sue know? Unless Jody Sue had cameras on Candace's property, on the road, facing the road, in front of their driveway, and so on. How would Jody Sue know all of this? And it would have had to been hardwired straight to a computer for her to have real time. And let's not even mention the trail cams, the SD cards and the erasing and all of that other stuff.
think at the top of the hill that your daughter's like taken, right? For some reason,
Thanks, Sass. I had a sassy too.
then why is it if you've made other calls from top of the hill, by the time you get to them and the first calls that they're actually released or whatever, right? Whatever the hell the case is, why do they at 6:21 and 6:23 then not contain corrections of, hey, my daughter's missing, she's been taken? Instead, why do they still contain mom went for a walk and what what the hell am I hearing right now?
And I got to apologize for the misspelling of were. CapCut does not like the word were. If you aren't careful and don't click it, it will change it and put the apostrophe in. And that drives me insane, guys. I do try to proofread. I still mess up every single time. You ought to see my Christmas cards and any card I've ever written to anyone or anything I've ever tried to do where I try not to mess up. It's a given I'm going to mess up.
Just a sec.
And it's from me if there's a mistake. Just saying.
You're gonna go down me. I mean, like, if it was me and I was coming off it, I would literally circle the hill myself. I would go around the creeks myself. I would make sure my whole property was covered before I'd make the assumption that my kid wasn't on the land any longer or that they were indeed gone. Even if they weren't answering me, because I'd want to make sure they weren't hurt first or something. But for some reason, here's Grandus and Candace, before even having contact with me after 6:09, thinking someone's been taken. Why? And why did they never go to the bottom. And why is Grandus saying they now sent the boys over the edge to look? Candace never said that in the interview. She said, I sent the boys over. But now here's Grandus inserting herself saying, we sent the boys over. We did. Like now it's a duo or team effort. But not once did I or any of the others ever hear Grandus say, not one yelling, not one anything.
Hi, Robin.
And before coming into cut, because I always thought, man, maybe I changed something by telling them I heard a
Hi,
scream.
Ollie.
Right?
I hope that's Ollie.
But now apparently for some reason before even running to me, after 6:09, they're hitting their heads that somewhere was taken.
Or Allie?
Why? Wouldn't you search your whole property? I mean, just what the hell's happening right now? And that also didn't occur to me tomorrow. Like me, I would make sure all of my shit was searched myself. But the boys hadn't even come back, right? To tell them if they found somewhere or not, if she was hurt at the bottom. So why in the hell would they assume she wasn't on the rest of the visible property and easily accessible, or in the creek, or somewhere else, or hurt? So why now they assume she was already taken before even running into me or hearing about the scream? What the hell am I hearing right now?
Sassmare. Okay. Thank you.
And why is Grandus now saying we sent them over the edge? But the rest of Candace's interviews and all that, it's always, I sent them over.
I would have been too.
And let me tell you, even when that happened,
Hi, Birdie.
I never had heard Candace direct them to go over. They just kind of hit it and went for it after the, what did you do?
Now, right there, she's saying she never heard even Candace give the boys the directive of going down the hill to search for Summer. And if you notice, she says that she goes down the hill and then all of a sudden the boys are down the hill, okay? And this is all happening within seconds. She goes down the hill, the boys are down the hill, Candace comes down the driveway. Other version is she goes down the hill, Candace comes down the hill, the boys come down the hill. Most often she's saying the boys were down the hill, then Candace came, okay? But here she's going to tell you that the boys were down the hill, given no directive. They just went in a unified force down the hill without being told what to do to go look for Summer. And then within seconds, Candace comes down the hill.
What did you do? Nothing, Mama. Nothing, Mama.
I thought that too, Birdie.
Question and state me out.
Jody Sue's mentioned falling off edges of hills a lot.
Never heard the directive to do that. And like I said, I could hear the sounds and where Candace knew joined up in a group in the front of the hill again. So I could tell it was a whole group of them facing her when that was said, but the oldest responded. What? Grace never said a damn word about it. And now it's... But as soon as the boys hit the bank,
here, listen.
Down, on my left, their right, Candace comes down a second or two later, right? It's not, but like that, right? Then I start hearing her. I noticed that like, I wasn't some plan. There was planning that was happening before yelling began.
Now let's listen to that again. Can y'all make out what the heck she's saying? Let me see if I went back far enough.
I wasn't some plan. There was planning that was happening before yelling began.
Call 911. I can't make it out. If it was planned before the something began. First, I thought she said Olympic, but I can't make it out. So if any of you guys have time later on, can you please replay this video and get to timestamp 14 minutes, and I say start at 14 minutes and 50 seconds, and see if you can make out what you think she's saying, and write it in the comments, and I'll love you forever. Yeah, I can. But I tried doing it a few minutes ago and it wouldn't do it. And all it was giving me was the option to block somebody. So I'm just going to run with it today because I got so much. If I start having problems, then I'll stop and try to figure out how to throw a couple mods in there. All right, so now we're going into the interview. Birdie, see my comment? There was playing happening before the yelling began. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Birdie. On this one here, this is Candace's mom in her news interview. And you're going to hear what she actually said to the reporter, not what Jody Sue says that she said and insinuated. In the part where she's speaking about being angry at Lawson, you do hear a little bit of a, quip to her voice, a little bit of ticked offness, if that's a word. Here, can you imagine, just imagine, if you've had a daughter go missing and then your granddaughter goes missing, and you know that every time you speak to someone, they're going to be looking at you a certain way. And even if you're innocent, you're going to feel guilty somewhat because they're going to make you feel guilty in your own mind, your own thoughts of what others might think of you is going to make you feel that way. Now, here's an example. You know how you go in certain stores and then, you're not a thief, never stolen anything in your life, but you have, one of the clerks following you around nonstop in there. They start making you angry. They start making you feel like they suspect you of something, right? And, I'm the kind of person, if I walk out of a store with something or I put it under my arm and forgot about it and I get to the car, I go back in and pay. It's just who I am. But I have had clerks follow me around and make me feel that way. And so if this woman is innocent and she doesn't know what happened, maybe she was asleep, maybe, she took meds, went and laid down, she was hurting, she had no clue. She wakes up and is being told that, Summer's gone. Who knows the real deal? But let's just say that she's innocent. Can you imagine being in her shoes? Because I can't. If she's guilty, then she's pretty cool cat. Let's listen.
And it's called Donnie, and we sent the boys down over the hill, and I stood in front of the...
And you can tell she's nervous here. You can tell that she's very nervous. You can hear it in her breathing, the way she starts sitting in her chair. You can tell. I can tell.
Over by the edge there and watched them, and was praying to God every minute that nobody would take them.
For more than a decade, Hare...
All right, now here, and I should have wrote this, and I forgot to do it in the video. But remember, Jody Sue likes to bait people, right? Remember the yellow vehicle BS? This might well be more bait, but it's bothered me ever since I saw it posted. And I followed Jody Sue real quickly after someone went missing. Let's just put it that way. On March 10th, she posts this meme, and it's if you are observant enough, people usually tell on themselves. And that is true. And she could have been referring to Andy. She did post a lot of things, about that kind of stuff. And I guess this is why you need to be careful on Facebook and social media about what you put out. Because later on, just even songs, later on, somebody can go back and they can look at it and they can read into it a different way, which is what I'm doing right now. So she posts this, and it's bothered me ever since because she has done so much. If she had just been the neighbor across the street and did that one interview and nothing else, and I happened to go across her page and read that, I would have read it a different way. I would have read it as, all right, let's use Marlena Crawford, for example. You go to her Facebook page, it looks like a woman that's had somebody treat her bad, most of her life. And she's looking for love, looking for somebody to treat her well. Okay. And almost all of her Facebooks that she has. And it's really sad. I've got a lot of friends on Facebook and personal friends. And when my kids were coming up, I kept telling them, you got to be careful because you just never know how something's going to be read. I do a lot of joking, and people that know me know my humor, and but somebody else wouldn't. You see what I'm saying? So here she puts the meme, and now we're going to go to what she posted on the 11th, and I could be totally wrong with what I think I'm seeing that she posted on the 11th. Now, right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right in here is a green pipe. If you blow the image up on your computer screen, your monitor, and I do photography, so this is a green pipe that's jutted out right here. This is water, okay? This is taken from inside of a car, these photos. Some of them appear to be outside of the car. Some of them you can tell was taken inside of the car. Hi, Constance Sue. And so let's continue. Now, notice she always talked about green things in the grass. There was lots of videos where she spoke about round green things in the grass, round metal things in the grass, and all of that. I always try to steer everybody away from caves, though, all the time. And tunnels. But people were thinking tunnels, not pipes. Jody Sue calls pipes tunnels. All right, here's another picture. And if you look over here, it looks like a cave to me. Down here, over on this side, is where the green pipe is. Pipe, P-I-P-E. It's like a water pipe, for drainage. And it's got water in front of it. So water's going back and forth, it's the creek. And so right here looks like an opening of a cave. So if you pull the picture up, it's kind of small here on YouTube, but if you look at the picture and you look at the trees, right? And you look at all the little shadows around, they're not uniformly shaped like that shape. And you judge it by the trees beside it so that you can see how big that opening is. At first I thought it might have been a trail where animals were going through. But nope, it's too clean. It's too open. And if it wasn't used, it would have vegetation in front of it, or through it, or hanging over it, or so on. It's pretty clean looking. Now, I don't know. So let's look at the next one. And here it is again. Here's the car. You can see the pictures being taken outside from inside a car. And there's that hole again. And there's the pipe. And the pipe is coming through right here, and then all the water right here. Okay. And this is the same day on March 11th of this year. Now, this is the water, and you can see, some trash over here. And then look what else was posted that same day. Flowers. Flowers inside of looks like a tire, right? Excuse me. I have no idea if those flowers were placed at the same place where that cave is, or if it's placed outside of where she's staying at now, or I don't see why she would go to 125 and put flowers where she used to keep her flowers. And for all we know, this photo may have came from back when she lived at 125. I have no idea. Like I said, it could be bait. But these are the photos that she posted that day. The other photo that she posted on the 11th that I didn't share because I didn't think it was, any importance, was a picture of a red truck with her hand over the red truck holding onto a snake, where she's leaning over the hood of the truck, holding onto a snake that I guess she found somewhere. Don't know if it's where this area is or where, but all of those photos that I just showed you were posted the same day, with the exception of the meme. All right, let me look at chat real quick, guys. All righty. Now, let me go back to StreamYard. Uh-oh. Stop sharing. And I'm back. I think I did that right. I hope so. Okay. Yes, Chrissy, she was bothered by the little brats making noise. She was bothered both before and after Summer's disappearance. And the things she said, and those are the only text messages that I believe are for real, are the ones where she posted messages to Andy complaining about the wells across the street and how she didn't want to live there no more, and that kind of thing. And that her and the kids were going to move soon. Those I believe. Some of those I believe she was texting to herself, and I think that she may have been texting herself for a long time. It's also possible that that phone that she used was a phone that was for business during the day while someone was at work. And she could have composed messages using that phone, sending to the other phone, and then delete those messages off that one phone. And that other person would never be the wiser, right? Right? Like the "it's done" message, the 13 messages that Hunter's talking about, which I would love to know what they were. It's too bad he didn't get time to be able to go through those messages further. It's too bad we don't know what date It's Done was posted on. But anyway, so now we're going to go to the interview room, and we're going to look at Candace Wells' interview at the swimming hole, part 1. And this is where Chris is talking to Candace, and she's going to, say what she did that day, where, Jody Sue had just said what she didn't do. Okay. All right. So make sure I'm in the right one here. I'm going to post this in my chat real quick. If I can figure out where my chat is on this thing. StreamYard. There you are. Okay, so posted a link to the interview room, to the video, and let me see if I can share it now. Share screen. No. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Okay, let me get out of here. I'm in the wrong place, guys. Hang on 1 minute. All right. Video. Find my folder again. Well, folder. All right, here we go. We're cooking now, I think. All right, open.
She was just gone into nowhere. And I started tracing the property, going everywhere I could. I sent my boys down through well, we live on the hill, so it was down by the creek. I sent them all down through there looking and everything. I said, still didn't find her? And they said no. So I ran over and I freaked out. I called Donnie because that's what I do automatically. I freak out, You
called Donnie?
I called Donnie. I said, I cannot find Summer. Come home now.
Okay, so right there, she's saying that she sent the boys down to look for Summer. Grandus is saying we sent. Grandus is just speaking generalized, okay? Grandus says and places herself there and says that she looked down and was praying for these kids, that they wouldn't disappear too, right? Grandus just came from a hospital. Has got a messed up knee, allegedly, and, she's not going to go far looking. Jody Sue was supposed to have had help all day wandering around her hill, right? And I need to be reminded to come back to that about her wandering around the hill. And so she needed to have help, and then all of a sudden became miraculously well enough to go, strutting around in a creek. But apparently she didn't do much searching in this creek. She states the neighbor, in the beginning, she said the neighbor was on the bank and she was in the creek. So she made it sound like they were side by side all the way through, right? Looking around this whole creek. Okay, so now she states that the neighbor took the bank and the hill, and she took the creek. Okay. Don comes in, he only mentions the neighbor. There's one video where he says neighbors plural. Jody Sue also says that there was another person, another witness present. She's never said who, nor has anyone else. She has insinuated that it was a family member of the male neighbor. Okay. Might have been his wife, might have been his child. Don't know, don't really care. Point is where was that person all this time? Okay. And so did Jody Sue ever really go around anywhere? Did she just stand or walk a few feet and stay in the water the entire time? Because remember, the search dog stopped at her feet, right? Remember that. Okay, we'll speak about that again in a little bit. Here's Candace, and she's saying that she sent the boys down and that she freaked out. And that's what she always does, that she always freaks out, right? And she calls Donnie. And he told her to call 911. And so she did. Excuse me, according to her. In the interview that Don had, that I'm not going to play, with Chris on the interview room, Don tells Chris that Candace called him and told him that someone was missing. And he told her to hang up and call 911. And he threw his tools in the truck and he jumped in his truck. And then he and Candace reconnected. I cannot recall at this moment if he said he called her or she called him back, but they reconnected and they talked the rest of the way home, which he found miraculous that they were able to keep the connection. Okay. All right. So we watched that one. So Jody Sue, looks like you're not correct. Okay. Now, let's go to the next one. See if I can remember what I just did. Oh, yeah. Okay, share video. And this one's going to be Molly GoLightly. And Dudley Ajan speaks sneak peek. Let me put her link in my chat here. Okie dokie. And back to share video. And we're going to listen to Dudley for a second. It's real quick. And so let's begin.
Which I don't think said that. Is that a crime in Tennessee?
Virginia's legal. So it's legal in Virginia. That's where we're living.
Okay.
But how do I feel about it? You know.
I mean, because he said basically that you're a meth addict.
You see, the problem is Don Wells, Candace Wells, knows what happened to Summer Wells. So I was in the way. I personally.
Now, Dudley says he was in the way, and I agree. If Candace and Don are guilty, or Candace and Don and others are guilty, I agree. Dudley would be in the way. What did Dobbs say? Dobbs said that he thought he was in the way. He even went so far as to say that he thought they were going to do something to him and put all the blame on him for Summer's disappearance because he just happened to buy land there and come during that time frame. And I'm going to leave it at that.
The accident happened on Monday, or possibly Sunday night or Monday.
He's saying it could have happened on Monday, could have happened on Sunday.
You know, because that's the day I saw him went to work and I was found that evening. So when I seen him, I've never seen him on this way before. You know, he had this look on his face like something really bad happened.
There's a lot of background noise, and I apologize, but he's basically saying that he saw him, right, the day before. He saw him the day before, and that Dawn was in the bathroom on the bathtub, and that he looked, like he was really upset, and he was looking at his phone. And then he fired Dudley. Now, Jody Sue mentioned in a video that Tiffany spoke of last night, her video, that her live video that she did, and I hope you guys go and listen to that because it's well worth your time. She mentions Jody Sue in that video that she had did with Tiffany Marie that Dudley had been offered payment to shut his mouth about something. And again, there's another vague comment about someone without saying a whole lot of anything. Okay. And so here he's saying that he didn't get paid, that he was stiffed by Dawn, right? And that Dudley went to his boss and had been going to his boss. Well, actually, Dawn was his boss, but Dawn was subcontracting through Tucker, right? So he's saying that he would go to Tucker and make complaints trying to get off the job with Dawn and be put somewhere else because he couldn't deal with it, whatever was going on.
So when you say that day, what date would that be? So she went missing on the 15th. When you say the Monday.
That's the 14th. That's the day I got fired.
He's saying that he saw Dawn on the 14th.
That evening. That's the day he said when he was talking about having everybody at the job and stuff, Tuesday, the day Summer come missing, I believe is what I heard. Richard Tucker and all them. But that was Monday, not Tuesday. So to me, I'm like, why is he lying about the date? He was supposed to go work Sunday. He didn't show up. I worked Saturday. And Monday I go in and he's sitting on a tub, like head down and just distraught. And I'm like, this ain't good.
So when you say a tub, where is this at? The job site?
At the job site,
What job site was that?
That was the one.
Right there, Dudley does say something. He says when he went in, so he didn't ride with Dawn that day because Dudley had said that, and Dawn had said that, he was getting rides with Dawn because Dawn would drive so fast that Dudley's vehicle couldn't keep up, and that Dawn would sometimes lose him in the process, and Dudley felt like Dawn was doing it on purpose. Right here, he's saying that on that Monday that he came in and he already saw Dawn there. Now, there's been speculation that Dawn wasn't going home at night, okay? That he was staying at these houses, right? And that he brought in, stuff to make his food and everything. And you wouldn't do that if you're only going to work for a couple hours, into the evening in the summer because the sun would stay up until almost 9 o'clock. Don said that, he usually came home around 9 o'clock, that, if there was nothing going on, he'd work late. So why was Don bringing, according to Dudley, why was he bringing in these things to stay there. And it was said that, he was doing it to avoid CPS. Okay, so was Don in that bathtub because he had been sleeping in that bathtub? Right? Was Don in the bathtub looking at his phone and saw something terrible on his phone? We don't know. We can only go by what everybody has said thus far. And this is what Dudley had to say.
When you recorded me doing the drywall Saturday with us, that was that job. That's the job he said. I couldn't tell what you had done that day. I put 5 buckets of mud on. She recorded me.
No, Bertie, she didn't mention anything about those photos. She just posted those photos, and that was it. So like I said, it could be bait, so be careful. Could be nothing, but it's always bothered me. And I needed to get it out there just in case. Be terrible if I sat here ignoring that because I'd be afraid of being ridiculed by her for posting something that she had posted, because she's playing games and Summer's body was inside there. I'd rather be ridiculed. So I don't know. I don't know, honey.
He got mad because I went over his work and it looked bad. So he ended me. And he thought I was a threat to him. He was going to lose his job because all he knows how to do is fix
What was the address that you got the last job that?
All right, and that's all on that one. Okay. Next, we're going to look at Voices Behind the Wall, and it's going to be the real interview with Donald Wells, part 1. And that's Sharon Mark, and they did a fabulous job with Dawn and Candace, and invaluable videos early on. So enlightening. And so I'm going to post their link. Let me find it. So that you can go to their page, their channel, and look at it in its entirety. It's definitely time for me to get new glasses, you guys. There is no doubt about it. Okay, there's the link. All right, let me see if I can remember how to do this. And let's go watch Voices Behind the Wall for a minute. Okay. It's going to be several little clips from Voices Behind the Wall. And here's the first one, you guys.
And that.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of people that come around, constantly.
This one's going to be a little difficult to hear at times. Dawn was new, to YouTube, probably a lot of the internet. He was doing pretty much what I'm doing right now, trying to figure out how to do things. And he was at a church and trying to use their Wi-Fi. He wouldn't have gone to that church to use the Wi-Fi unless he had been at the church at that time. I really don't know. That's something that Sharon Mark could tell us. But I do know that Jody Sue goes around and uses Wi-Fi at places, and I believe that Candace did as well. And I'll speak on that in a few minutes as well. And so here, Don is talking, and he goes, he's outside, and so that, he could have some privacy, and then he loses connection. They have to go back. He goes back into the church, and then there's echo that you're going to hear. It's not on my end, it's on their end. And Cher and Mark and Chasing were just kind and put up with it. They didn't want to lose the ability to have that interview, so they just put up with it. rather than try to help Don figure out things. And so you're going to hear that. And then when he's inside the church, you're going to hear people in the background of the church. And so please bear with that because it is important what he says.
Constantly, day and night, all hours of the night, looking for pills or whatever, meth, I don't know, but yeah, we see that a lot. You know, like the picture I posted of the little red truck.
Hi, Annie. I'm not sure what you're hoping I'll post, but I might. You never know. I've got a lot of stuff. I debate all the time what I'm going to do with it. And I don't have the time to do it in the form where I use CapCut and put in the text. So I'll probably be doing lives for the ones that I have on my computer. The ones that I have on my phone, I'm going to have to do, in CapCut with the text. And I apologize. Had I known all along that, you couldn't share from your phone like that, I would have not saved any of them on my phone. I also have, USBs and full, and let's go on.
He got stuck there at 3 a.m, and they're yelling and screaming since 3 that morning. So when I went to work that morning, that's the first thing I was dealing with.
Hi, TT.
And then until the police showed up, but yeah, that's pretty common in that area. A lot of rough characters around there, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds pretty.
Since you bring up the red truck, how did that tip come into play? Was that you that brought that up because you saw the red truck, or did somebody else bring that into play and tell you guys there was a red truck, or how did the red truck come into the picture?
When I was leaving for work that morning,
Now again, guys, Tiffany Marie did a live last night, and the red truck was spoken about a lot in that video. Jody Sue's mother's truck and so on. So please go to that live and listen to it so, you can catch up on what she's saying in regards to the red truck. And here, he's going to be talking about a truck that was wrecked outside. Now, Jody Sue, in earlier versions of her videos, said that she heard the wreck. She went out in the middle of the night and looked and saw what was going on and tried to get up with Dawn and Candace to tell them, what was going on, and that they didn't respawn until early morning hours. And I can't remember if she said she was the one who called the law on those people, or and I believe she did say, I'm almost positive she said she was the one who called the law on those people. Because Don doesn't say he called the law. He says he came, I don't believe. So let's listen.
There was a guy at the bottom of my driveway wanting me to full start his four-wheeler. And then the police showed up, and he asked if I could go ahead and pull it over to his truck. So, and the policeman said, yeah, Mr. Wells, just pull it over there, and so I did. And when we got there, I seen the truck on the bank of the ditch there, high centered. And
now Don had posted these photos to his Facebook page, and this truck wrecked the early morning, middle of the night of June 15th, 2021, right there, by their house. Okay. It's not the truck that was said by TBI that the worker that works in the area, that's often in the area, had reported having seen either the day before or the day of, they weren't sure, but had seen in the area. And then Jody Sue always speaks of the red truck as the red truck, okay? She also copied the yard sale lady early on because she was in Facebook groups, and I followed her there too. got beat up in a couple of Facebook groups over Jody Sue. Because in the beginning, I and when Evil entered were the only two people that were speaking out about Jody Sue Brown. And we took a lot of heat. And so, but I just couldn't stop. I just can't ignore somebody putting out misinformation. If you don't know for sure something, just say it. I don't know. This is what I think. This is my opinion. This could be. This is what I heard. Don't put things out as fact and make it sound as fact. Okay. Don't misconstrue what someone else said. Try to show receipts. And if you're wrong, admit it. And so here Dawn is talking about, back to that other truck, the yard sale lady had, described the man. Jody Sue goes on a big long thing of several lives where she's describing pretty much the same guy, okay? And, says she saw him every day. And in other lives, she said that she was sitting outside of her hill every single day, all day long, at the bottom of her hill, for days before Summer went missing, because she was watching what the tree cutters were doing, whether or not they were cutting down the wrong trees, and she was watching the people that were coming to buy the land. So she said that she sat down all that time. Now remember, now on the 14th, Jody Sue has this interaction with Dobbs, runs him off. They hunt him down around town. Right? They don't find him. And then suddenly we're supposed to believe that on the 15th, she's forgotten all about Dobbs, right? She's not worried, not really. Andy supposedly is sending her text going, heard anything going on? And she's like, so blasé about it all. Heard a noise. Apparently the noise was the car / truck door, because it sounded heavy and came from the back of the cabin, from the road back of the cabin. And that's how she put it. Okay. She didn't mention the road's name, just said the road behind the cabin, opposite direction. Suddenly, she goes a little bit further, and we'll get into that in a minute. But here he's talking about the red truck. And I just don't understand why Jody Sue suddenly stopped being so hyper vigilant. Now, she did say that she walked out on those banks, on the 15th, but we'll get into that in a minute.
And I asked the officers, can I take some pictures? He said, no problem, Mr. Wells, go ahead. And he started asking him for paperwork. And when I went to the side of the truck to take a picture, there was some woman stuck her head out. There was a woman in that truck. And she looked like she ain't combed her hair for like 2 months. I don't know, but she just laid back down in there and covered up. But that kind of stuff is constant in our area. And, all kind of stuff going on. I think meth is becoming what it always has been, but it's getting worse, I guess. It's a serious problem. I guess it is everywhere, but yeah.
And that was the morning?
Well, sir, I didn't.
Sorry, that was that morning you left for work that happened with the four-wheeler and that?
Yes.
So the police were there June 15th, early in the morning then?
Yeah. Yeah, they just showed up because somebody else had called the law.
Wow. Well, you already know what I'm thinking, but we can't say it on this, so wow. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Well, just for funsies and to give the people a laugh, were you hiding in that shed when Chris did the interview?
Okay, that's all on that one. And let's go to the next one. This is all the same. These clips are all from the same link, guys, that I posted in my chat. I just didn't want to air the entire stream of hers. I just wanted to take clips.
Can you tell us if they verified that you were at work that day? Do you know if they spoke to your boss?
I don't know exactly what they verified, but, you know, my boss, you know, Richard Tucker, he knows, he talked to me that day. I also talked to Jamie Killian. He was there. I talked to him for 30, 40 minutes after, you know, that day too. But trying to remember, but I think I talked to Richard about 30 minutes before I got the phone call, and then I had to load my tools up and head to the house as fast as I could. So, yeah. But I think they could tell. I was driving a Subaru that day, so I think they could tell by that too, because it's a brand new Subaru. I don't know.
Yeah, they should be able to track everything that happened that day. I think that's why there was a big issue when you said you thought it could have been 5:30. Can you clarify the 5:30? Is that when you thought Candace called you, or is that when you thought you got home?
Well, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember exactly, you know, but until TBI reminded me, you know, that it was 6:30 when we called, because that's what the 911 said. It was 6:30 exactly. And also my wife, I guess she looked on her messenger and was able to verify that too. You know, around the time that she called 911 was 6:30. So.
Now see right here, I can understand why Jody Sue may have thought that. But in previous conversations, he said that he thought he had gotten home at 5:30. Excuse me. He doesn't state that he got home at 5:30 here. He states that he thought, because she's asking about the 911 call or, you know, home at 5:30. Well, he immediately starts explaining away the 911 call. So that's left still up in the air for me as to whether or not he's stating that he made the call right at that time frame, that, you know, he thought it was 5:30 when he made the call versus being at home at 5:30. And I'll have to try to dig out the other things in places where he says that, you know, he thought he had come home at 5:30, and I might be incorrect on that. And so if I am, then I'll definitely make a apology for that. But here it does, I could see where Jody Sue would say what she said concerning that.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking 5:30, but I guess I was just wrong in that. You know?
Well, messing up the time by an hour, I mean, that happens all the time. That's like, but people are just trying to pick everything apart. And as far as
I was wondering how the four-wheeler got there, period. I didn't know if it was in the truck, you know, because, you know, I haven't looked back at those pictures in quite some time. That four-wheeler could have been in the truck. I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me because I don't remember. I just remember seeing those pictures and disregarding them. And I may have been wrong for disregarding them, you know, but I did. You know, once it was explained away by everybody that, you know, this and that had happened, I just stopped paying attention. I really never paid much attention to the red truck stuff anyway, other than Jody Sue's mom. And the rumor had it that the son drove the truck a lot. And so, and there have been people in that area that personally said that Jody Sue's son would drive the red truck. So, you know, that's the only truck that ever stuck in my mind or I paid attention to. The other trucks, I just didn't think about them. You know, her things about the guy driving by in the red truck, you know, his tattoos, and, you know, and she was inches away from him. You know, that was just pure Jody Sue BS, in my opinion.
you being like verifying you were at work I'm sure the police have done that, and people saying that they couldn't verify that, this seems weird to me, because all the people you talk to and everything, I mean, if the police had just talked to them, they'd say yeah, which they probably did. Like, it's probably just all rumors and speculations.
Yeah, because law enforcement, I checked again today, they say, yes, everybody is a suspect, but they said that everything that we have all come up with on social media, that they have already looked into those. There is no person of interest, okay? I feel like I should repeat that even. There is no persons of interest.
Yeah.
As simple as that. So incriminating Dawn, I'm not sure what people...
And that's basically what they still say. Everyone's a suspect, right? But no persons of interest. And that's really sad. And all of this time,
people are trying to do.
Hi, funny face, Brenda.
They just need a villain.
Yeah, and to say that you were hiding in the shed and then point out into the past.
Okay, that one's that one. And let's go to the next one. Okay. I think it's this one here. Yep.
Like, no parent is going to be all calm and well rested after something like this happens, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to June 15th. You're at work. You get that call from Candace. From the best of your knowledge, what time was that and how did that go from that call? Do you remember what she said? And kind of let's go on from there a little bit.
Okay, so she calls me and
Now note, he didn't say what time she called. Okay? When we listen to these people, we have to listen to what they don't answer. Okay? Because, like I said, my stomach's going to growl again, guys. I am so sorry. Next time I will definitely eat before. Put yourself in their shoes. If you're guilty of anything, it doesn't matter what you're guilty of, or if you're even guilty in that particular matter that's being spoke of. If you feel that something might incriminate you, even if innocent, you're going to skip that portion, okay? And you're going to answer the rest. Or you're going to pull a Jody Sue and switch the whole subject, and so on. Okay, so I don't know if that's what Dawn is doing here. Now, out of the whole lot of them, in the beginning, I thought Dawn was guilty. And, well, actually, I thought it was Candace. I was dead set against Candace, dead set against her. I had some, theories that I still have. And Dawn came in second, and then Jody Sue. Okay. Depending on the theory. And some of them all together in two theories. So